Welcome to my channel. Let's take a journey, not just back in time, but into the fascinating world of coin collecting, where everyday objects become stories, mysteries, and sometimes, treasures. Today's story begins with a coin that most people might not think twice about, the 1991 United States quarter dollar. But not just any quarter, this one carries a small, seemingly insignificant detail that changes everything. A tiny D mint mark, tucked beside the portrait of George Washington, and a year, 1991, that turns this 25-cent piece into something far more valuable than its face value. What makes this specific quarter special? Why is a coin that you could find in pocket change worth up to $159 to collectors today? Let's find out. It all starts with the simple yet enduring design of the Washington quarter, which dates all the way back to 1932. Designed by John Flanagan to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the coin's obverse has become one of the most iconic portraits in American coinage. Over the decades, the Washington quarter saw various changes, both in composition and appearance, but the central figure remained the same, the steadfast image of America's first president. Fast forward to 1991. America was in a transitional period. To the average person, the 1991 quarter seemed no different from any other. But for numismatists, those who study and collect coins, it was a year that produced a curious standout. The Denver Mint was responsible for creating millions of quarters that year. The D mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail tells us that this coin came from that facility. And here's where the magic of numismatics begins to unfold. You see, not all quarters are created equal. While the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of coins in 1991, a few of them, just a few, have characteristics that set them apart from the masses. The first thing to understand is that minting errors and subtle variations in coins can make them incredibly valuable. Collectors aren't just looking for coins, they're looking for stories. A misaligned die, a double strike, an off-center print, these are the quirks that transform a 25-cent piece into a collectible worth far more. The 1991 D quarter dollar doesn't owe its value to precious metal content, it's made of copper and nickel, after all. But its rarity, condition, and appeal to collectors elevate it to something special. But what makes this common coin so uncommon? Part of it is condition. Coins are graded on a scale, from well-worn to mint state, and even small differences can lead to large jumps in value. A 1991 D quarter in poor condition might be worth exactly what it says, 25 cents. But one in near-perfect condition, with sharp details and minimal wear? That's where things start to get interesting. But even among high-grade coins, there's more to consider. Some 1991 D quarters display striking errors, double dies, weak strikes, off-center images, or unusual metal compositions. While not all of these are officially confirmed as major varieties, their presence in the market makes them sought after by specialists. Now, let's talk numbers. According to the official records, the Denver Mint produced over 630 million quarters in 1991. That's a staggering number. But how many of those have survived in pristine condition? And among those, how many have been officially graded MS-67 or higher? Here's the kicker. While the average circulated 1991 D quarter is worth about 25 cents, an uncirculated one in pristine condition, professionally graded as MS-67, has sold for as much as $159 at auction. That's more than 600 times its face value. Think about that. A coin that most people would use to buy gum could instead be a key piece in a serious collector's display. Why would someone pay $159 for a quarter? It's about rarity, demand, and the simple laws of supply and demand. High-grade examples are in short supply. Collectors working on building full mint state sets, one coin from each year and each mint in high condition, need that 1991 D. But finding one that meets the strict standards of MS-67? That's no small task. And when demand outstrips supply, prices rise, but it's not just the monetary value. The 1991 D quarter represents a moment in time. It carries the echoes of a nation in transition, the fingerprints of history, and the marks of a minting process that, for one brief moment, created something truly exceptional. Whether it's tucked in a collector's folder, resting in a display case, or awaiting discovery in a roll of change, this coin is a reminder that history is all around us, in our pockets, in our drawers, and sometimes, even in the change we almost overlook. Could it be? You send it off to be graded. Weeks later, the result comes back, MS 67. Suddenly, your yard sale find is worth $159. It's not just a coin anymore, it's a story, a success, a piece of history that's yours. So the next time you get change at the store, take a closer look. That quarter in your hand might be more than just spare change. It might be a story waiting to be told, a piece of the past waiting to be uncovered. Because sometimes, history doesn't sit behind glass in a museum. Sometimes, it jingles in your pocket, and that brings us to the end of our journey. From its historical context to its enduring design, from the minting process to the collector's market, we've uncovered the reasons why the 1991 D quarter is more than just a coin. It's a link to the past, a collectible of the present, and perhaps, an investment for the future. Let's take a step back in time, 1984. The United States was a country in motion. The economy was recovering, Ronald Reagan was seeking re-election, and the Summer Olympics were lighting up Los Angeles. Amid this backdrop of political energy and cultural evolution, an unassuming coin rolled off the presses at the Denver Mint. A simple 25-cent piece. Average to most, but extraordinary to a select FEW. At first glance, the 1984 quarter looks just like the billions of others Americans have passed between their fingers for decades. Silver gray in color, bearing the familiar face of George Washington in profile, and weighing just under 6 grams. But hidden within this seemingly ordinary piece lies a story that blends American history, minting precision, collector ambition, and eventually, a surprising twist in value. Now, when you hear about valuable coins, your mind might immediately drift to ancient gold doubloons or Civil War-era copper pennies. But modern U.S. coins, especially quarters minted as recently as the 1980s, have stories, and values, that might surprise even the most seasoned numismatist. And today, we're diving deep into the tale of the 1984 quarter dollar minted in Denver. Yes, the one marked with that tiny but significant D. Before we zoom in on the coin itself, let's take a moment to understand the world it was born into. 1984 wasn't just a significant year politically and culturally, it was pivotal economically as well. Interest rates were dropping after the highs of the early 80s, inflation was easing, and the American consumer was regaining confidence. Vending machines, payphones, arcade games, quarters were everywhere. They were the currency of convenience, of snacks, phone calls, and parking meters. The U.S. Mint was busy meeting the demands of this cash-based economy, and the Denver Mint alone churned out nearly $676 million quarter dollars in 1984. That's right. $676 million. And among them, the coin we're talking about today, though common at first glance, stands out for a variety of compelling reasons. Let's get into the design first. The obverse, the front of the coin, features George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. His portrait has adorned the quarter since 1932, commemorating the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. By 1984, the image had become so familiar it was practically invisible to the average American. But numismatists, coin collectors, know better than to overlook the classics. In numismatics, rarity isn't always about mintage numbers. Sure, 676 million might sound like a lot, but not all of them were preserved. Most were spent, scratched, lost, or simply worn out through daily use. And that's where collector value begins to build, through condition and survival rate. A coin that has survived decades without entering circulation is something rare indeed. Now, let's talk about grading. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with mint state 70 being the highest, denoting a perfect coin with no post-production imperfections visible under magnification. Most 1984 D quarters you'll find in your change today would grade far below MS 60, often falling into the good or fine range due to years of wear. but a few special examples. They've survived in astonishing condition. Picture a 1984 D quarter with brilliant luster, razor-sharp strike, and full detail on the eagle's feathers and Washington's hair curls. These are what collectors dream of. Coins like this are graded MS65, MS66, or even higher, and they're anything but common. In some documented cases, 1984 D quarters graded at MS66 or higher have sold at auction for over $100, sometimes more depending on demand at the time. And when an error variety is combined with a high grade, that's when the price tag can skyrocket, which brings us to the highlight of this journey. One such 1984 D quarter, graded in superb condition, exhibiting excellent luster and detail, recently made headlines in the numismatic world. This particular coin stood out for its nearly flawless surface, full eagle tail feathers, and original mint shine. Its final auction price? $144. That's right, $144. For a coin that most people might have spent on a cup of coffee and a snack back in the day. It's the kind of story that inspires treasure hunts in your own change jar, or maybe that forgotten box of coins tucked in your closet. Think about that. A single quarter, originally worth 25 cents, appreciating more than 576 times its face value, not because it's made of gold, or because it's centuries old, but because it's rare in today's pristine form. So the next time you come across a 1984 D quarter, don't be so quick to toss it in a vending machine. Look at the details. Check for that clean strike, that glimmer of mint brilliance. It might just be the coin that makes your day, or even your week. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual enthusiast, there's magic in discovery. And as this 1984 D quarter proves, sometimes the most surprising treasures are the ones we've seen 1,000 times before. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's overlooked coin treasures, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more coin stories, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a rare find. Until next time, keep your eyes on your change. You never know what history might be waiting in your pocket. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more coin stories. See you in the next one.